Roger, thanks for dropping by. This is a kitchen session that starts out the same as most, but certainly not going to end up anything like others. I may get it done in one part. These are my 3 Renantheras. Now this one we looked at recently. This is the imschootiana, and it had a base that rotted. It's currently sitting in moss that's wringing wet. So it's coming out. So that's reason for plant number 1 coming out of here, is it's wringing wet. And it smells. Now I've got it out the pot. Now I'm going to take these sheaths off because they hold water unnecessarily. Now as you can see with this, it's made no effort to push out any more roots. However, it's alive and it's growing, but I could make much better use of this root if I could hydrate it. And what's the, bearing in mind these like to be bare rooted or almost bare rooted, what will be a good way to get that root to hydrate properly? Chuck it in the Vanda bucket. It is a vandaceous type, yeah? That way it can sit in there and soak, because I can pour water on that till the cows come home and it stays white. It will not absorb enough to get this going. So that's plant number 1. It doesn't need anything done to it really, apart from when we get to sort out where it's going to go. You can see this part of the root is green because that's in soggy moss, but that part is staying too wet. Right, so that's plant number 1. Right, they're all coming out for a different reason. This one, I got all of these in early 2020, so early last year. Now let me just get that one is the storiei, and that's the one that's got the dying leaf on it. I just need to keep these 2 separate in my mind. Now both of these that went into the bark with the lots of holes in the pot was all very well, but this is my old orchid bark, and although when I water these the bark stays wet for a while, it's staying wet too long in the bottom of the pot, it's growing algae, and these roots are not hydrating again. And this is the 2nd or 3rd leaf it's lost recently, and there's only so many left. Currently this is the latest leaf and there's no sign of a new one, so this plant is effectively stalled. And this is its growing season. This is when it should be taking off. This is when I've got the temperatures. It's a bit fausty, but we've got mould on the base of the stem, which we don't want. We've got a nice growing tip on that root. Just about a growing tip here. This had a growing tip that's closed over because it's not getting hydrated enough, and this root has effectively died. Now what I'm going to do, let me just get my secateurs, because that's too much for the old scissors. Now these were put away clean, but because I've got mould on there and that root's dead, I'm taking this off to there, like that, and I'm checking the rhizome, which is okay. Now these bits of bark can stay there unless they just tease off easily. Yeah, they're sort of coming off pretty easily. So we've got one root with a good growing tip and 2 other roots that will start to grow if they get hydrated. This leaf is not long for this world, and we haven't grown a root out of the base, I believe, and since I got it. So that's plant number 2. Dropping its leaves and not hydrating. Next, this is the one with the good root system. Inside and outside of the pot. Has it bloomed? Has it held? And this is that's faded so much so that's it's Kalsom, which is effectively a hybrid. I'll do pop-ups for the names anyway so that you've got them. And like requested a while back, when I've got some plants like this, I tend to put the names of the plants in the description too, because that helps the channel, because it helps people find orchids they're looking for specifically. And in addition to that, it helps the people who want to know what's going on inside the video. Right, now this one has got some pretty good roots in here. They're covered in algae, really bad algae outbreak here. Clear pot, but because it hangs in the roof, it's difficult to organise a inside a black pot. It has grown some roots from the stem, and it has a multitude of aerial roots. Therein lies the problem, because although I can water the pot, these aerial roots are not hydrating, which means the plant is not getting as much hydration as it ought to. So get all this bark out. Yeah, it does smell a bit mushroomy too. As I say, this was the old Orchiata bark. Now down in the pot we have some lovely bright pink root tips. So there is some root growth in the pot somewhere. But where it's coming from, I don't know. Well, that little one there is... It's a branch off of this root here. Very old root. Some of these roots are going to have to come off. I think I'll do the same as I did with the other one, quite honestly, and take the base of the plant off with the old roots. So down to there. I know I haven't sterilised that, but there's nothing wrong with these plants. Not from that point of view anyway. I'm going to try and take these old roots out without breaking those or damaging those little nice new root tips there. This should just all peel off now. But these roots are sort of stuck to each other. Oh, there's a nice two new root tips there on that root. That root's a branch off of a root off the stem. So that's quite good. Right, I just need to go and get my scissors now. Won't be a minute. My cat does not like me hurrying. Thinks I'm chasing him. Tough cat. So I'm just trimming because I want this lot to fall away so that I can see what I'm doing. I think that's got most of it. Right. So this is a nice, it's growing quite nicely, this plant. Quite pleased with its growth. But I'm not pleased because it could be growing better. And it would be growing better if it hydrated, and it would hydrate if it could go in the Vander bucket. So that's where it's going to go. Right, that's the old roots trimmed off. We have some active root tips on this, which is good. Half a dead root there. This plant has grown new leaves and is currently pushing another one out. So this is growing. This one is at least growing. But what I don't want is it to start losing its lower leaves. And we've got some pretty good roots going on here too. Oh, that old bark's just going to have to stay there or I shall end up damaging the roots. But what I will do this time round, because there was some mould showing in one of the pots, and I think there's some tiny little spots on this bark too. It's just where the bark was old, I think, and it's in the pot. It stays damp. It dries quickly. As far as the aerial roots are concerned, they don't even get properly wet. But I think I'll do the hydrogen peroxide on this, hopefully kill off the algae, stop it spreading anymore, and sort out these pieces of bark that are stuck on, because I don't want the mould to stay there. So I shall get that done, and then I'll be back with something completely different. Okay, we are now at the point where I don't know what I'm doing, and basically this was an idea sparked off from part 4 of the 2021 project Orchids, when we looked at the Renanthera that is part of that project, and a couple of people sparked an idea because they made a suggestion, and it reminded me of this. Now that's been used once, I believe, and put outside in the hall and buried under other stuff and completely forgotten about. But we have some open baskets suitable for roots, and this one was not suitable for roots, so I cut pieces out of it. You can see I've cut strips out here. So I've sort of done little, big, big round the pot. So there's plenty of room for roots to escape now, not necessarily out the bottom. Well, they'll have to go out the side, won't they? And the plant that's going there has only got one root, so we won't worry about it yet. Right, so what's in the bag then? Well, we'll start with the one with a single root, because relatively that's easy to do. And what we've got in the bag is lava rock. And I've forgotten I had this. Now the problem is I believe it's all big. I don't believe there's any small pieces. Oh, there are a few smaller pieces, but the bottom of the bag seems to be full of dust. But I'm not going to need a lot of this because it takes up quite a bit of space, because it's chunky. I'm just getting out an assortment of sized pieces because we're going to do some building. Obviously I need to hold the plant, and to do that I might have to choose specific size pieces to go on top of the one before. Right, let's see what we can do with that. That's probably made far too much noise in the camera, but tough. Right, so we'll put some giant pieces in the bottom. We are giant pieces as well, aren't they? Right, so that's some pieces in the bottom. So this is going to be heavy as well, isn't it? Now obviously this root can escape, so we can start off with the plant sort of like that. Now if it's going to produce roots, obviously they're going to come out from the stem. I need enough pieces in here to be able to touch that root so that it might actually attach, and then it'll feel better. It'll feel more comfortable if it's attached to something. So we'll put some pieces over the root, and then it's just a matter of supporting the plant, which, as I said, is a combination of big pieces and small pieces, so that they wedge together and become firm and don't flop about, and hopefully support the plant reasonably well. And then hopefully we will get some new roots from higher up the stem. I've got no guarantee, I haven't used this stuff before. To tell you the truth, I don't even know if it holds water, but there's an easy way to find out, isn't there? Seeing as we've got some here and something to put some water in, let's put a piece in there and see if it actually soaks up. It does. You can see already, just drop that in the water and you can see it's soaking up. So it does hold water. Well, I wasn't sure about that, but given that it's full of holes, it would seem reasonable that it holds water, wouldn't it? I would say that's a reasonable assumption. Right, that plant seems reasonably firm. I want one more piece to go down there, which needs to be, actually if I use that little piece to go down there, and then this big piece to hold the little piece in place. I want these pieces quite firmly sort of wedged in so that the plant doesn't wobble about too much. Right, the only problem with this basket is there's no lip on it, so I can't use one of these, because these need a lip to grab hold of, and I don't think they will go down over the top of that piece at the top. No, they won't. So we will have to use some wire for that one. But anyway, I will be able to put that in the Vander bucket and leave this root to soak up. I'll leave it there till it goes green. That way we're going to get a lot more hydration into that plant. Now, I can't put that there because my bread oven's on the go. Oh, it smells wonderful. That's the alarm may go off while we're still working here. I don't know. Oh, I've got lots of smaller pieces in the bottom which would help fill up gaps. It seems strange that they've all gone to the bottom when I haven't been shaking the bag. There you go. At least we've got some smaller pieces. This is not good for the skin, you know, it's as rough as anything. Tear you to pieces. Right, start again, and we need to look at the plant, see what we're up to, not just put the pieces in. Right, so this, well, first thing this needs is some cinnamon on that cut. I'd forgotten about that. It is a raw cut and it is quite a sizable one, so we will actually seal that wound. That will dry that off nicely. I'll just sort of do the other one while I'm at it, because that one had a trim as well. This one had a trim along with a few roots near the base, so we'll just touch on those. The cinnamon has it's a dual purpose really, because it dries the joint, but it also seals the joint, so it stops infections and things getting in, which is, you know, considering it's a spice, it's pretty good stuff really. Makes me, when you get strange things like that, I often wonder, who thought of doing that then? Who got the spice jar out of the cupboard and thought, I'm going to put some of that on my orchids? Doesn't work that way, does it? It's somebody who was studying the properties of the spices, I suspect, and thought, I might be able to find a use for that. Sort of more that way round, I should think. Make sure this bottom is covered, sort of like so. Don't know how much dust is going to come off of this. I've only just changed the Vander water, so I don't know. The problem with this is I'm going to have to try and thread these roots so that they're already on the outside of the basket, which is not going to be easy. Not going to be easy at all. Might not even be possible, but I'm going to give it a go on the grounds that even that will help secure the plant. Right, that's got those two sort of threaded through. And then we've got this one. This one's sort of wrapped itself round in the pot, and I'm hoping that it's going to get in here curved without snapping, which it looks like it has. Just. And then the end of it we will just thread round, and that will be inside the lava rock. So, like that then. All good stuff. Now we need the jigsaw puzzle in between all the little pieces to stop it wobbling around. I would suggest, if you do this sort of thing, you don't go mad with the large pieces of lava rock, jamming them in place, simply because they are so rough they will damage the velamen on the roots, probably quite badly. Probably quite badly. I'm going to have to stop the camera. I've just heard Hurricane Hector kick in and the door's open, so he's wasting his time. I'll be back. Yeah, sorry about that, I'd left the door open. Obviously there's dry air in the lounge, so the measurement was correct but wrong. Does that make sense? Having shut the door, the humidity in there will rise very quickly, simply because it's not exchanging the air with the what's in the lounge anymore. Quite a few small bits going around there because of the roots. It's over at an angle, this plant, which I'm not happy about. There's not a lot I can do about it. Try straighten it up a bit. That will have to do. That will have to do. So the root that's wrapped round is touching in various places. So I'm putting so much of this stuff in here, expecting, you know, a load of root growth. I might not get it. You know, it might not happen. But we can hope, can't we? Not sure it's necessary for every part of every root to be touching something, but it would be nice for the roots to feel like they can attach if they choose to do so. And I think that's probably about it. I think I would like a small piece there. It's a right rummage bag here, isn't it? Will you fit in there? Yes. Right, so that's it. That's that one done. Oh, they're quite heavy, aren't they? Any of you who've used the lava rock before would know that. But although it holds water, it's very airy. So I'll just put a bit more near. If any roots do come out of the base of the plant, it would be nice if they touch some lava rock straight away. Just put some pieces there. Now this time, this thing should be able to be held up by these. And it needs to be good. I need to trust it because obviously it's heavy, and if it falls in the grow room it may well fall on something because of where it goes up with the banders. You know, if it falls it's going to land on a plant. We don't want that. That seems to be firm enough. Yeah, happy with that. So that's that one done. These are going to go straight in the bander bucket when I've finished. Right, some big bits in. Now this one, I'm not quite sure how we're going to manage this. This has got a lot smaller root system, but these here, they're going to have to go to the bottom and the lava rock go on top or they will snap. These here, I could try threading some of those through, so that they're, you know, that big one's going to have to go through, or it won't go in the pot. Now, how high is it? It needs to go in quite low down. So about there. That gives me some roots with the pink tips down the bottom that were in the bottom of the pot originally, so they were buried in the bark. Better selection of pieces. Long skinny ones, short fat ones. Very difficult finding smaller pieces. There's a few there. Right, so I'm gonna have to thread these through to where those roots are on the base of the basket, so that the first lot of lava rock goes on top of those. And that will hold them in place, and in turn will hold the plant in place too. I've got one here that's coming out the side. That's good, you know, it means I've got a growing tip heading out of the basket, which is the way it would grow. You know, if this was starting from scratch, that's what would happen. The roots would push out from the base and head off to the outside of the basket. No piece is the right shape here. That's better, some smaller pieces, that's what I want. To get down in here and sort of lock everything together. Now all of these aerial roots should now start getting hydrated a lot more frequently by being dunked in the bander bucket. It should do the job. And because we've got some going out the side of this basket, we're also sort of locking the plant in place too. Oh, there's my wet one. You can just go on top there like that. Alright, let's come round. We've got nothing down this side. where there's no roots, big bits. Well, there are some roots, some slightly smaller bits perhaps. So far at the moment I'm not actually holding the plant very firmly, but I think that will just happen naturally as the roots do their thing. So some of the roots will always be aerial. I mean, the whole idea of the lava rock is that they are virtually permanently aerial roots now. But because I can throw the whole basket in the Vander bucket, they will get hydrated, which is not what's happening at the moment. So I can't put too much more in here because I'll be up to the leaf. And obviously, because the lava rock does actually hold moisture, it would be rubbing against the leaf as a wet rock. It's not ideal. I could do one more piece down in there. We'll go down in there. Yes. That's gone in right by the base. So, it's plenty firm enough. I mean, the beauty of this lava rock is it's heavy. That is, for once, a bonus. A lot of the time you think, oh, I don't want my pot too heavy, I've got to keep lifting it, haven't I? Well, in this case that's actually a bonus because it'll hold the plant still. So I'm trying to position these because obviously I've got a new leaf at the top of the plant and I don't want that getting tangled up in this bracket thing. There we go, that's that one done. Right, I'm pleased with that. As I say, they're now going to go straight in the bucket, which has currently got pure water in it because I've just changed the bucket. And then from now on, when I water the Vanders, I shall water these as well. And hopefully this works. Hopefully this works. I see no reason why it shouldn't. I mean, this is second to totally bare rooted, just hanging it up on a, on a stick. So it's better than that. And this stuff does hold some moisture. So I think it should be okay. And it was horticultural grade stuff, not the stuff you put on a barbecue. Full of some sort of flame assistant, so that when you put a match to it, it takes all your eyebrows off, yeah, we've all done it. Yeah. Right, so that's that done, and a new lease of life for these, hopefully with more hydration, getting more food in through those roots as a consequence. They should start showing signs of better growth on the grounds. This is the growing season and that's what they're supposed to be doing. So right, job done. I'd forgotten I had that stuff. For the couple of people who suggested it, thanks for the reminder, because I'd completely forgotten I'd bought that hell of a long time ago. Just trying to think what it was for. Ranko Stylus I think it was for, in a wooden basket. It still didn't work, but anyway, job done. See you next time.